Ram Kabir, Kalpana Ben, go ahead.
Ram Kabir. રામ કબીર બોલો તમે કબીરજીના બાળ વર્ષોથી હું જોઉં તમારી વાતલડી ક્યારે થાશે પાવન મારી આંખલડી કેમ કરીને જાય દિવસ રાતલડી પ્રેમ થકી હું પૂજો તમારી પાવલડી રંગમાં હું રંગાયો પ્રીતમાં બંધાયો દુનિયાની નજરમાં હું પાગલ કહેવાયો રામ કબીર બોલો તમે કબીરજીના બાળ તારા રે ચરણોમાં મારે રહેવું છે જેથી જીવન જીવવા જેવું લાગે છે સુખ પડે કે દુઃખ પડે મારે સહેવું છે ઘડીએ નામ તમારું લેવું છે રંગમાં હું રંગાયો પ્રીતમાં પુરાયો દુનિયાની નજરમાં હું પાગલ કહેવાયો રામ કબીર બોલો તમે કબીરજીના બાળ પ્રેમ તણા પુષ્પોથી હું વધાવું છું તારી દયાથી ભક્તિ ગીત બનાવું છું રાત દિવસ હું ગુણલા તારા ગાવું છું તારી દયાથી જીવન હું વીટાવું છું રંગમાં હું રંગાયો પ્રીતમાં બંધાયો દુનિયાની નજરમાં હું પાગલ કહેવાયો રામ કબીર બોલો તમે કબીરજીના બાળ શરણાગતને તું શરણોમાં રાખે છે પોતાનો જાણીને હૈયું સ્થાપે છે જેથી ભક્તો મસ્ત બનીને ચાલે છે વિપ્રતની વેળાએ હાથ પકડે છે રંગમાં હું રંગાયો પ્રીતમાં બંધાયો દુનિયાની નજરમાં હું પાગલ કહેવાયો રામ કબીર બોલો તમે કબીરજીના બાળ રામ કબીર.
राम कबीर बहुत सुंदर प्रार्थना भजन कहिए ते कल्पनाबेन અને કલ્પનાબેનનો શ્રી રામ કબીર ભક્ત સમાજ ઓફ યુએસએ અને સૌ ભક્તજનો તમારો આભાર માને છે. કલ્પનાબેન લાસ્ટ ક્રુસેસ માં રહે છે અને બહુ સુંદર ભજનિક છે અને ભજનો ગાય છે. સૌ સખી મંડળ કે સહેલી મંડળ કે મહિલા મંડળ જે કહો તે બધી બહેનોને ખબર છે અને વેરી નાઇસલી સંગ અને બહુ જ સુંદર તમે મેસેજ કે જ્યારે આપણે ભક્તિમય થઈ જઈએ ત્યારે લોકો આપણને પાગલ જ ગણે કારણ કે તમે જે નથી જોઈ શકતા એની તમે ભક્તિ કરો છો અને એના પ્રેમમાં જેવી રીતે મીરા પાગલ થઈ ગઈ તો મીરા જે કૃષ્ણ ભક્ત થઈ ગઈ ત્યારે એને પાગલ ગણતા તેવી જ રીતે આપણે પણ તમે જે કબીર સાહેબનું રામ કબીરની વાત કરીને બધાને જે કહેવું છો કે યસ તમે રંગાઈ જાઓ અને ભલે દુનિયા તમને પાગલ કહી પણ પ્રેમથી તમે રંગાઈ જાઓ. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ કલ્પનાબેન. So, રામ કબીર ઓમ શ્રી કબીરાય નમઃ. શ્રી રામકબીર ભક્ત સમાજ ઓફ યુએસએ અને શ્રી રામકબીર ભક્ત સમાજ ઓફ સધન કેલિફોર્નિયા વતી હું રાજેન્દ્ર ભક્ત આપ સૌનું આ રવિવારની સવારે કબીર વિઝડમમાં સ્વાગત કરું છું, જ્યાં અમારો ઉદ્દેશ્ય એ છે કે આપણે કબીર સાહેબને, આપણા સદગુરુને હંમેશા યાદ કરી અને એનો જે સંદેશો છે તે આપણે સૌ ભલે જ્ઞાન યોગ હોય, કર્મ યોગ હોય, ભક્તિ યોગ કે પછી રાજયોગ, એનો સમન્વય કરી અને આપણે સૌ કબીર સાહેબના સંદેશાને સમજીએ અને જીવનમાં ઉતારીએ, એ જ અમારો સૌનો ઉદ્દેશ્ય છે. કારણ કે પોતપોતાનો લગાવ, કોઈને ભક્તિ યોગમાં હોય, કોઈને જ્ઞાન યોગમાં હોય, કોઈને કર્મ યોગમાં હોય. દરેક માર્ગ આપણને હું કોણ છું અને મારું અંદર સત્ય શું છે એના તરફ આપણને લઈ જાય છે. તો સૌ પ્રથમ તો 4th of July આવી રહી છે. એમાં 4th of Julyમાં આપણે શું છે કે એક આઉટર ફ્રીડમ જે મહત્વનું છે કે ભાઈ ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્સ દેશને મળ્યું, તો ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્સ ડે આપણે જ્યારે ઉજવીએ છીએ તો એ ઓલવેઝ આઉટર ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્સ, અને દરેકને જોઈએ છે કે ભાઈ યસ હું મુક્ત છું. પરંતુ આપણે એ જ વખતે આપણું આંતરિક ફ્રીડમની પણ વાત કરવી જોઈએ કે ઇનર ફ્રીડમ. વોટ ઇઝ ઇનર ફ્રીડમ? કે કેન આઈ બી free from my thoughts, my emotions? In a way, you are not completely free, but you are an observer. કે હું ઓબ્ઝર્વ કરીને ફ્રી થાવ, ડિટેચ થાવ, તો શું થાય કે હું મારા વિચારોનો ગુલામ નહીં બનું, હું વિચારોનો માલિક બનું. જે રીતે બાહ્ય કન્ડિશન્સ ફ્રીડમ ને માટે આપણે જોઈએ છે કે ભાઈ યસ હું આઉટર ફ્રીડમ પણ મને હોય અને એ જ સાથે ઇનર ફ્રીડમ પણ હોય, તો બંને ફ્રીડમ હું લઈને એક જીવન યાત્રા પૂર્ણ કરું, વિચ ઇઝ વેરી વેરી ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ ફોર ઓલ ઓફ અસ. તો શુભેચ્છા 4th of July, પ્રેમથી ઉજવો. આઉટર ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્સની સાથે ઇનર ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્સની પણ તમે વાત કરતા રહેજો અને એ માર્ગ પર પણ ચાલતા રહેજો. અને બીજી શ્રી રામકબીર ભક્ત સધન કેલિફોર્નિયામાં, દક્ષિણ કેલિફોર્નિયામાં ભક્ત યુનિટી કપ, એક ક્રિકેટ ટુર્નામેન્ટ યોજાઈ રહી છે. અત્યારે 2 દિવસથી, આજે 3જો દિવસ છે, હજુ 2 દિવસ ચાલશે. 22 ટીમો ભાગ લઈ રહી છે. તો એના સૌ ઓર્ગેનાઇઝર્સ ના ભક્ત યુનિટી કપ ને ઓર્ગેનાઇઝરને આપણી શુભેચ્છા પાઠવીએ, સૌ પાર્ટિસિપન્ટને અને બધા જે પ્લેયર્સ છે એને પણ કે લોકો સેફ રહે અને સારી રીતે એક આનંદમય મૈત્રીપણા ભાવથી ટુર્નામેન્ટને ભાગ લઈ અને મૈત્રી ક્રિએટ કરે અને હાર્મની ભક્ત સમાજમાં આવે ને હંમેશા ચાલુ રહે. એ જ અમારી શુભેચ્છા કે સૌ ભક્ત ભાઈઓ બહેનો આનંદથી સ્પોર્ટ્સ દ્વારા યુનાઇટેડ રહી અને સ્પોર્ટ્સ એક યુનિટી લાવે અને આપણે કોમ્પિટિશનનો સ્પિરિટથી પણ આપણી અંદરની જે બેસ્ટ વસ્તુ છે તે આપણે બહાર કાઢી શકીએ. તો એ સૌને પણ શુભેચ્છા. તો મિત્રો, મેં જે વાત કરી કે આપણે 4 માર્ગો દ્વારા જીવનની યાત્રા કરીએ છીએ, તેમાં કયો માર્ગ કે ભાઈ જ્ઞાન માર્ગથી આપણે સમજવા માંગીએ કે ભાઈ હુ એમ આઈ થ્રુ નોલેજ બેઝ. પછી ભક્તિ કે ભાઈ હું સરેન્ડર થાઉં, જેને હું એક જ જે છે દરેક પોતાની આસ્થા પ્રમાણે તેને પ્રત્યે, પ્રભુ પ્રત્યે, લેટ્સ પુટ ઇટ ધીસ વે, આઈ સરેન્ડર. તો ભક્તિ માર્ગ દ્વારા, ડિવોશન દ્વારા, કે પછી તમે કર્મયોગી બનો. અને કર્મયોગી મીન્સ તમારે થ્રુ યોર એક્શન્સ, જે કબીર સાહેબ કહે છે કે એક વાત કરે છે કે કહે કબીર કે 2 બાતા સીખ લે, કર સાહેબ કી બંદગી ઓર ભૂખે કોઈ કુછ દે. એમ વાત કરે છે. આપણે સિમ્પલ ભાષામાં કબીર સાહેબ તો કોઈ કોમ્પ્લિકેટેડ વસ્તુ કરતા નથી. હી ઇઝ વેરી સિમ્પ્લિફાઈડ. So he says, as Einstein used to say, the purpose of human life is to serve other human being. તો આપણે કર્મયોગ દ્વારા હાઉ ડુ વી સર્વ અધર હ્યુમન. અને અત્યારે હું એક વસ્તુ વાંચતો હતો કે ભાઈ આપણી જે વર્ક છે એ શરૂઆતમાં તો આપણી સેલ્ફિશનેસથી શરૂ થાય કે ભાઈ હા, મારે મારા કુટુંબનું એ કરવું છે, એક કુટુંબને સ્ટ્રોંગ બનાવવા માટે ફાઇનાન્શિયલી આઈ હેવ ટુ વર્ક. અને હું વર્ક કરું તો તે હંમેશા સેલ્ફિશ હોય કે ભાઈ યસ આઈ વોન્ટ ટુ મેક માય લિવિંગ થ્રુ વર્ક ટુ સપોર્ટ માય ફેમિલી, ત્યાંથી શરૂઆત થાય. પણ પછી ધીરે ધીરે આપણી યાત્રામાં અનસેલ્ફિશનેસ આવે, કાં તો વી સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલાઇઝ અવર વર્ક એન્ડ ધેન વી ઓલ્સો સર્વ હ્યુમેનિટી. તો એ જે કર્મયોગની વાત છે એમાંથી આપણે આપણી સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલ લાઈફ પણ આગળ વધારી શકીએ. બ્લોસમિંગ એઝ અ હ્યુમન બિંગ હેપન્સ વેન વી સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલાઇઝ અવર વર્ક. તો એક દાખલો હું એક સ્ટોરી નાની કહીને અને પછી આજની આપણા જે ગેસ્ટ છે એના વિશે વાતો કરીશું. પરંતુ એક વિવેકાનંદ જ્યારે પોતે કર્મયોગી હતા, એ સૌ ભક્ત ભાઈઓ બહેનો જેમણે થોડું ઘણું પણ વિવેકાનંદનું જીવન જોયું છે એમને ખ્યાલ છે. તો વિવેકાનંદ જીવનમાં જ્યારે પશ્ચિમ બંગાળમાં એક દુકાળ જેવી પરિસ્થિતિ ઊભી થયેલી અને પોતે કર્મયોગી હતા, હી ઓલવેઝ વોન્ટેડ ટુ સર્વ ધ હ્યુમન બિંગ ઇન ધર નીડ્સ, વોટ એવર ધ નીડ્સ આર. તો તે વખતે જ્યારે દુકાળ પડ્યો અને એ યાત્રા કરતા હતા પશ્ચિમ બંગાળની, તો શું થયું કે એક ચોરા પર એક નાના ગામમાં ઘણા બધા પંડિતો, સો કોલ્ડ પંડિતો, એ વેદ ઉપનિષદના બધા શ્લોક બોલીને જ્ઞાનની ચર્ચા કરતા હતા અને મોટી મોટી ચર્ચા કરે, શ્લોક બોલે. તો પંડિત એ પહેલા તો વિવેકાનંદ થોડા ઇમ્પ્રેસ થયા કે ચાલો આ લોકો તો બહુ આધ્યાત્મિક લાગે છે. પછી જોયું તો એને પૂછ્યું વિવેકાનંદે કે તમે લોકો શું સેવા કરો છો? આ બધો દુકાળ ચાલે છે, બધા ગરીબો પીડિત થાય છે, બધા માંદા છે, તમે લોકો શું સેવા કરો છો? તો એક પંડિત જે એમનો એ હતો મુખ્ય કહેવાય કે લીડર, તે કે હા એ તો બધા એમ કે એ લોકો કર્મના ફળ ભોગવે છે, અમારે શું એમ કે આત્મા અમર છે, અને એ બધી જ્ઞાનની વાતો કરવા માંડ્યા. ફક્ત એમ કે આત્મા અમર છે અને શરીરને તો કઈ જે તે દુઃખ થાય છે, શરીરને દુઃખ થાય છે, આત્માને દુઃખ થતું નથી, અને એ લોકો કર્મના ફળ ભોગવે છે. એટલે પંડિત આપણે વિવેકાનંદ થયું કે આ શું, what is this? They are just talking about knowledge of the scriptures which they have not even realized. એક પોપટ કેમ ગોખી જાય તેમ ગોખી દીધું અને જ્ઞાનની ચર્ચા કરે છે, but they are not serving the other living human being who are suffering. એટલે એમણે શું કર્યું, એ લોકોને એક દાખલો આપવા દંડુકો લઈને ફરતા, એક કહે ને લાકડી લઈને ફરતા વિવેકાનંદ. તો દંડુકો એક લીધો અને જે પેલો લીડર હતો એના માથા પર ફટકાર્યો, જોરથી ફટકો માર્યો નહીં પણ એમ પ્રિટેન્ડ. એટલે પેલો ગભરાઈને ભાગ્યો કે શું મને મારી નાખવા કે શું? કે તું તો ત્યારે કહેતો હતો કે આત્મા અમર છે, આત્માને તો કશું થતું નથી, શરીરને દુઃખ થાય, અને તું આત્મા છે તો તને દુઃખ ક્યાંથી થવાનું? કહેવાનો મતલબ કે વિવેકાનંદે એને કીધું કે જો તું આ જ્ઞાનની વાત નહીં કર, પુટ ઇટ ઇન એક્શન અને સર્વ ધ નીડી. અને આપણે સૌ ભક્ત ભાઈઓ બહેનો પણ આજ અમારો એક ઉદ્દેશ છે કે વી ઇન્સ્પાયર ઇચ અધર એન્ડ વી હાઇલાઇટ ધ પીપલ હુ આર ડુઇંગ ઇટ and say that yes, we are here to serve the human in their needs without any selfish motive in us. That's the most important thing. Of course, we do our business duty with selfishness a little bit, but when it comes to serve other human, that's where we want to spiritualize our work. તો આજે એવા જ કર્મ યોગી, જેનું નામ જ યોગેશ ભાઈ છે, તો એમના સાથે એમના જ જે કર્મયોગીની જે વાત છે એના પર વાત કરીશું. તો યોગેશભાઈ એમના પિતા શ્રીમાન વિઠ્ઠલભાઈ દયાભાઈ ભક્ત ધામણ અને માતા દુધીબેન વિઠ્ઠલભાઈ ભક્ત ધામણ, અને આમ સાન ફ્રાન્સિસ્કો બે એરિયામાં રહે છે. તો યોગેશભાઈ એમના પુત્ર છે અને એ પોતે ડોક્ટર છે. તો આજે આપણે એમને જે કંઈ he was born in India, but about tender age he came to USA at age of 6. એટલે you can say he's a American member of USA in a way, of Americanized completely. તો પણ છતાં એણે જે વેલ્યુઝ પકડી રાખી છે, see that's the most important thing. એજ્યુકેશન અમેરિકામાં લીધું, મેડિકલ ફિલ્ડમાં ગયા, ડોક્ટરથી સેવા કરે છે, પણ ધ વેલ્યુઝ હી કેપ્ટ આર મોર ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ. અને એ વેલ્યુઝ એમણે કેવી રીતે જીવનમાં ઉતારી તેના વિશે વાતો કરીશું. તો રામકબીર Yogesh, welcome.
Ram Kabir.
You say Ram Kabir Bhakta Samaj of USA. So Yogesh, let me ask you, as a, first of all, as a medical doctor, you and your wife Dipti both have doctor, and you're serving human, which is wonderful. We thank from the entire humanity to all doctors to serve as human to kind of make us disease free and mitigate our suffering. કે આપણું અમારું suffering ઓછું થાય. તો એના સાથે what else you do so that way we all, in spite of you are, kind of raised in USA, you still have the values. So what are the things you do which takes you beyond your medical day-to-day work?
That's a loaded question. I don't know. You're talking about Kailash Medical Foundation?
Yes.
So yeah, I started Kailash Medical Foundation in 2014. It's named after my sister, Kailash, who passed away in 2010 of a rare form of cancer. So it left the family with a huge void, obviously, with a loved one, with a helpless feeling, wanting to do more. But prior to that, a few years before that, I had started going on medical camps with other companies, with Flying Doctors of America. And I think 2009 was the first time to Himachal Pradesh in India. I've also been to Madagascar and Haiti with Xi'an Funds, a different group. But when I went with these other companies, it felt like there was always more that could be done. And I also felt like at some point you really had to focus on serving in one community, not so many different communities all over the world, which is really impossible for any individuals. It really takes everyone in each individual community to take care of each other. But yeah, slowly it evolved. In 2014, I wanted to start my own foundation, and my sister definitely was the motivation in terms of the naming and what we're the spirit behind it, and her energy and her charisma. She was a very giving, loving person. Flawed, just like everybody else, but that's we're all flawed. But yeah, and we've been to 6 different countries now. But the last couple of years, we want to focus just on India and Nepal. We have been to Zambia, we've been to the Philippines, Panama, Mexico. But I think home is where the heart is. And, I'm from Gujarat, like you mentioned. My sister Kailash was from Gujarat. She was born there also. So we started with my group, specifically my board member, a dentist friend, is Bhavan Gandhi, who's our head dentist, started a project in Bagecha, Gujarat, which is in between Surat and Bardoli. There's an ashram over there with 600 kids that we're starting to work on to help take care of their dental care. This year, we're going to take a medical team there as well. And in Nepal, we found a great host there that has been she's very organized, and they've been able to help us identify the areas where the need is. And so it's been a win-win from a logistical standpoint for us to choose those 2 regions to serve going forward. So yeah, what we do is we take group of doctors, group of dentists, sometimes optical teams and glasses, nurses, pharmacists, support staff, etc. And go ahead and give free service. Give our
Okay, so Yogesh, હું થોડું ગુજરાતીમાં કહું કે જે યોગેશે વાત કરી કે કૈલાશ ફાઉન્ડેશન એના સિસ્ટર કૈલાશ જે we lost her in 2010 or 2010. તો એક rare case of cancer થી we lost her, and then of course એમને પણ યોગેશને પણ inspiration મળ્યું કે hey, let me start something. He was part of a પોતે આ રીતે મેડિકલ કેમ્પમાં જતા હતા અને સર્વ તો કરતા જ હતા, પણ then in 2014 એને થયું કે ના, મારે કંઈ ને કંઈ મારા બહેનના નામે કરવું છે એમ. તો એ પેલું કે ને કે જનરલાઇઝડ આપણે સેવા કરતા હોય પછી થોડું ફોકસ થઈને કરવા માંડ્યા એમ. સો એન્ડ યોગેશ, લેટ મી આસ્ક યુ કે તમે જે આ મેડિકલ કેમ્પ કરો તે અત્યારે તો ડેન્ટલની વાત કરી, પછી આઈઝની વાત કરી, So what are the areas, medical field na kaya kaya area mein તમે serve કરો?
Well, it's mainly in medical. We just do primary care. Like I'm internal medicine, so we take care of adults, and we also take pediatricians to take care of children. Same thing as you'd go see her for regular care checkups. And most of what we do on our camps is really like urgent care kind of things, acute things, like somebody's coming in with, usually most common thing is pain, either neck pain, back pain, knee pain, whatever pain, infection sometimes, the same problems that we see anywhere else in the world as here. The only problem is we're not able to do follow-ups and more intensive testing right now. And we're trying to expand our services slowly as we can. And even the medications that we do give out, they're the most basic medications, to help control pains, infections, stomach issues. We're trying to start treating hypertension and cardiac issues now. Now that we identified that we're just going to work in 2 regions. We have a cardiologist in Nepal who's been joining us the last few years, and he's going to be bringing an echocardiogram machine this year. And we're going to start a hypertension program to start monitoring all the patients in these areas that we serve, and see if we can do a bit more to help prevent problems in the areas we serve.
Right. So when you go to all these countries, let's say when you go, how many doctors and what kind of, like, there's a whole team of different doctors go, like say, cardiologist, dentist, and who else?
It varies from year to year. It really depends on who can make it. Everyone's busy in their life. So especially with people with children, it's very hard to juggle their schedule. Some of my doctor friends have come on multiple different trips, but they cannot come every time. I'm the only one that's been on every trip. And that gets kind of difficult at home if you're going 2 or 3 times a year to different places. So managing your home life is important too. It's the family also suffers when we going away to do our work. So it's a lot of things to think about. So the team sizes also vary. Usually from the physician standpoint, we have between 4 to 6. Haven't gotten much bigger than that from the US. But what I'm talking about, the cardiologists and other locals that meet us, they're actually the locals from Nepal. There's a cardiologist in Nepal that has decided to join me every time I go there. He said he'll be there on every camp that we join. And I have a nonprofit over there that's also helping support our logistical needs, transportation, interpreters, where we're going to stay, where we're going to work, getting the medications. It's a lot of things involved in putting the camps together. So our teams are not big. Even a dental team, usually we'll have maximum 2, maybe 3 dentists, sometimes more. We've had up to 4, I think, in some of the trips, but usually 2. And then the assistants for the dental assistants. But you're also seeing patients a lot faster out there than you are here in the clinics, because you're not writing notes, you're not writing no formalities, there's no fee exchange, there's nothing, it's just love exchange. So
right. Here in USA,
so
we have a lot of right, yeah. Okay, no, that's great. So now we can understand કે એ લોકો જે યોગેશ ને આખી ટીમ જાય છે, થોડા ડોક્ટર અહીંના હોય છે અમેરિકન કે પછી લોકલ ડોક્ટર કે ડેન્ટિસ્ટ, એ બધા ભેગા થઈ ને એ લોકો કેમ્પ કરે અને જે જરૂરિયાત હોય તે લોકોને સેવા કરે. હવે let me ask you, યોગેશ, કે that when you, what is, like, what you do is of course great, but why you do that? What inspired? Because there are millions of doctors in USA, let's put it this way, but not all of them, they do what you have done. Let's say percentage, they're probably a large percentage, but today we are talking about you, and we want to know why you do that and what is the reward in doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question to answer, I think, because it's always for, yeah, you're right, there are countless doctors around the world and very few will do this type of stuff, but that's an individual decision, and the feelings are individuals' feelings and how they feel the world should operate. For me, I think I get a huge reward back myself personally when I'm giving back. So it's a good feeling. And the reward is also on the other side. The recipients are also very happy to have us there. And it's a good energy exchange. It's hard to describe that energy exchange, because it's kind of a win-win-win situation, which is rare in our life. you know. Um, so, like you mentioned earlier, people are more into the working and productive parts of their life and etc.
Right.
So
Yeah. So I can see that the feeling which Yogi is talking about, like it's today's topic is like, how to be a karma yogi, and his name is Yogesh, so it came out to be karma yogi. So what he's talking about કે જે feelings જે છે જ્યારે patients ના face પર એ smile જોઈ કે at least when the patients have એવી conditionમાં હોય કે જ્યાં એ લોકો પાસે resources નહીં હોય અને resources અને knowledge નહીં હોય અને ત્યારે અમેરિકાથી કોઈ ડોક્ટર જાય કે ટીમ ઓફ ડોક્ટર સર્વ અને જે છેલ્લે જે એ લોકોને જે એક ગુડ ફિલિંગ થાય પેશન્સમાં અને પેશન્સને ઇમ્પ્રુવમેન્ટને આશાને કિરણ દેખાય એક રેઝ ઓફ હોપ તે એના મુખ પર જે ફિલિંગ આવે ને જે એનર્જી એક્સચેન્જની વાત યોગીએ કીધી વિચ ઇઝ વેરી સટલ થિંગ એન્ડ I want to talk about that energy exchange between two human beings, which is the same energy, but it's been exchanged, and that is what the feeling Dr. Yogi is talking about. Yes, that feeling only he can feel. That feeling only he can experience. We can talk about it, but when he sees that, and that is the reward. જે ભગવદ્ ગીતામાં કૃષ્ણ કહે છે કર્મણે વાધિકારસ્તે મા ફલેસુ કદાચન, એમ જે વાત કરે છે શ્રીકૃષ્ણ, તો કે ભાઈ તું તારું કર્મ કર અને પણ કર્મ નિસ્વાર્થ ભાવે કર, કોઈ પણ ફળની આશા રાખ્યા વગર, પણ તારો આનંદ તને કર્મમાંથી જ મળશે, તારા કર્મમાંથી આનંદ મળશે. Sorry, Yogi, I'm just kind of diverting myself to bring that main point, what you do into the kind of to mainstream Bhakta Bhayo Beno je સાંભળી રહ્યા છે. So we are just repeating, they already know, but we are just repeating to reinforce and inspire through your benevolent work, So the whole purpose is that you derive your pleasure from the work you do, and when you do that work with love and care and without any expectations, that becomes a big reward, and that's the feeling no one can feel except the person who is actually doing it, who is serving and caring to the people. So am I correct in that, saying that?
Yes and no. I think you don't have to deliver the service yourself directly. There's a lot of indirect ways to help,
Yes.
We would not be able to do what we do without the support of all of our donors, to tell you the truth. Because and they get a lot of reward back from being able to support us. So, but they're not able to go to do the actual work. But they know that we are a team. We're a family taking care of. It takes an army to really do the work. An army that stays behind, and it's just a small army that actually goes to do the work. So I think there's a lot of different ways to get that feeling, and be able to help. Without having, because most people don't have that skill set of a physician, right? So how would they be able to deliver that type of
Right. Yeah, no, but you said right. It takes an army. So the people who are indirectly helping also part of the team, and thanks for adding that, because it's not you only, but the whole army of people who are also supporting the resources, because this is not a one person's job, as you said, it's the entire team. But then, the whole teamwork, which is what I like about when you say it takes a team of people, and only few, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines go at the battlefield, but then there is a support system, entire support system to support them. So this is the whole entire team's work, which is what, and everyone benefits, which is.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the families do too, the children do. There's a lot of different ways peripherally. I know my friends and my friends' children have peripherally learned, so just by observing others. So it's, there's many different benefits of it, for sure.
Since Dipti, your wife is also doctor, has she been to any of the camp?
She's been to a couple of our camps to Panama, yes. My children have also gone when they were younger. And once the girls are out of high school, we're going to develop a mental health program because my wife is a psychiatrist, and she'll develop that part of our program as we go forward. And we're having some gynecologists joining us now who are going to help just take over that arm of services for the girls and ladies. So we're slowly getting specialists coming in. We'll build on things as we go along, and we first have to find people who are interested in helping us and joining us. So
no, that's good. But see, એક સમાજને બધા ભક્ત ભાઈઓ બહેનોને બધાને જ આપણે યાદ કરાવીએ કે you lead by the example. આપણે જે પેરેન્ટ્સ તરીકે કરીએ તો then we are also instilling values in our children. એટલે ડોક્ટર યોગી કહે છે કે ભાઈ એ બાળકોને પણ લઈ જતા તો બાળકો can see and they can see the values in serving other human being, and then they are leading by the example. I think that's very, very important. કારણ કે ઘણીવાર a lot of time as a young parents, we don't realize that we are we are leading by the example, and sometimes we forget, and we expect our children to do different things than what we do. But it very nicely said, hey, kids are also part of it. They know, and hopefully they get that values to follow in future. So that's a really good thing. So how many countries have you been so far? Now, before you focused to India and Nepal, but before that, you said,
yeah, we've been to a total of 6 different countries.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been invited to other locations, but like I said, logistically for me, it doesn't make sense to keep going to different locations and different countries. Even within a country, there's just too many different locations that you can serve. And it's really, sometimes the biggest point is for me, actually the truth is the host. Because if they don't get enough interpreters, or they don't get enough equipment or medication, then it has happened many times. Then it becomes a big problem for us when we arrive and we can't get our work done efficiently as nicely as we'd like to, So we found some really responsible hosts in Nepal, and also partnered with, I believe it's the Shiksha Foundation, I believe, in Gujarat. It's actually a Southern California-based foundation, I believe, but they've been helping us, helping my dentist lead, Dr. Bhavan Gandhi, get started on our program there. So we're going to expand over there as well.
That's in Gujarat, right? Shiksha Foundation. I think I know.
Yeah, that's right. We've been in 6 different countries to answer your question. Like I mentioned earlier, we have been to Philippines once, Zambia once, Mexico once, Panama. We've been 4 or 5 times. We had good hosts over there as well over there, but there's not as much of a need there as there is in when you go further away. So, but now,
and what's your experience in India? Because I think all of us, majority of us, come from India, and those who are watching, સાંભળે છે, જોઈ છે, Kabir wisdom, ને માટે your experience of India, and how it has been.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's evolving probably thoughts as time has gone along. Because the first time I went back was after 35 years of being here in the US. I was like 41, I think, when I went back for the first time. And a lot of things have changed since then. And I find that especially in Gujarat, there are a lot of resources that are maybe just like here in the US are just not used properly. And we could probably, the locals could take care of their own, but they don't. So it's mixed feelings there. There's a lot of good and bad, just like anywhere else in the world, just like here in the US too. So,
right. And when you go, is the camp for like 10 days, 20 days? How many days normally?
It's hard to go for a long period of time because we're all working. Normally, majority, we try to do 1 week, but India and Nepal is very hard to do just for 1 week. Like this year, I'm going to be gone for 2.5 weeks, but people who are going for just the Nepal part, they just need to be there for about 1 week and 1 or 2 days, so like a week and a half. We used to do 2 week long, etc. ones, but that's very hard for time commitment for everyone. So they leave their families and their workplaces and everything else. So try to do at least just a 1 week.
And
Me now that I'm going to 2 different countries, instead of us going to India and then coming back and going another time of the year to Nepal, we're going to do both at the same time. I just go from one to the next. And that's why for some of the team, it's going to be a little bit longer camps, like 2.5 weeks. My dentist, like Dr. Bhavan Gandhi, is retired now. So he's going to be going twice a year, for 6 weeks. So he's going to be doing about 3 months worth of work for us, roughly a year. And his sister also is kind of semi-retired. So, and as some of us get older and we retire, we'll probably do a bit more too. So we'll see.
Right. And what was the reason behind choosing Nepal? Because Gujarat, or India which is understandable completely because we have roots over there. But what was the reason behind Nepal? Any specific or?
Yeah, not really. Not for all the places we choose. Like the story has been like from one country to the next, depending on who I've met or who somebody mentioned my foundation and they know somebody over there. Nepal started out through the Lions Club. It was somebody locally here in the Bay Area that knew somebody in the Lions Club, and that was from Nepal. And then the story started from there. So the Lions Club hosted us one time, the first time we went there, and that did not go that great. So, towards the end of that trip, we met a host. Her name is Sonam, and her and her husband Karma started this nonprofit called The Small World. It's an amazing NGO there in Nepal, and they take care of a couple of orphanages of girls who have been trafficked and where their families left them or extremely poor, and do quite a few other projects over there in India. I'm sorry, Nepal. And Dr. Gandhi had introduced me to them, and we tried the next camps with them, and everything went so amazingly well and smooth. We decided to just stay with them, and each year it's gotten better and better. And like I said, to me, the need is great all around the world. You can just throw a dart at Earth and you're going to find a need. But it has to be for us, since we go for such a short period of time, we need efficiency. We're going to hit the ground running, and we need everything set up and ready to go when we're there. So, and that takes a lot of logistical work on the other end, finding our housing, our transportation to the workplace, the medications and all the other things, interpreters, etc. So they're very reliable. It's really, to tell you the truth, summarize it, it's the host.
Right. Yeah, it's a teamwork. As you said, if the host is ready and with all the બધી જ વસ્તુની પેલી કઈ ને આપણે લગ્ન કરતી વખતે જાન આવવાની હોય અને મંડપ સજાવીને બધું જ કરેલું હોય તેના જેવું કે when you arrive, it has to be, everything has to be ready. કે બધા doctors જે specialist આવેલા હોય તો they start right away helping all the patients, એટલે તેને માટે જે all the work has to be done. I think that's the key thing. Well, let me ask you, Yogi, what kind of I know it's very kind of hard to answer, but what kind of challenging or the physical ailments you see or among all the people wherever you go, all the patients?
Yeah, it depends on the location. When we're going to the mountain regions of Nepal, I guarantee you that the most common things are going to be neck and back pains, because they're going to be carrying heavy things up and down those mountains and walking for miles and miles with boxes of, whether it's apples or rice or whatever, on their head or neck. I mean, if you're talking about, and then, there's some areas you go to with high infectious disease rates, so it really depends on locations where you're going. Like this time in Nepal, we're going to go to a flatter area called Janakpur, which is closer to the India border, and probably much more higher Indian type of a population. In the mountains, like where we go in Solokhumbu, it's more of a Tibetan population. So you see even the facial features and bodies are all different. How they eat and drink and do things are different. Their spiritual and cultural and religious beliefs are different. It's really not one area is the same. The same diseases are common diseases are the same all around the world, but some areas will just have more things like more musculoskeletal pains versus more infectious diseases. Like some areas have a lot of malaria. In Zambia, we saw a lot of malaria and TB. So, and that just depends on where you're at.
Right. Yeah. As you said, with 8 billion people, you just throw a dart, and as long as humans are there, the human body is going to need. There's no perfect disease-free human body. I mean, we are talking about 8 billion, that there are so many of them who suffer. And then we need people like, all the medical industry people to go and help them and kind of guide them and treat them, so that way at least they become disease-free in any area, because a lot of them, they don't have a hope. And you being in USA, hopefully bring the latest technology and latest knowledge to help them, rather than, they rely on somebody who's like a voodoo doctor, over there.
Well, you mentioned that one word you mentioned, hope, is the number one word right there for anybody, any human being, is that they can hang their hat on hope any day of the week, all day, every day. And hopefully we do provide some hope that for a better life. Part of why this nonprofit is important to me is they also do other work they started doing. They started these programs called Seeds of Hope, where in some of the mountain area, they're slowly helping families build greenhouses so they can grow their own foods year round instead of going for a handout somewhere. And this is what the locals ask for. They don't want to wait in lines, just getting handouts all the time. They say, hey, we have land, we can help. So they've been doing those projects, and Kailash Medical Foundation has been donating to those projects. But we want to probably at some point start our own project like that. And that's where I think we can get more of an army of non-professional volunteers come in that can come just to do the physical labor. And I haven't identified the locations and all that yet. I'm going to look this time when we go to Nepal, what we can do, identify a region that we can adopt and do some of these things on our own. Because I think, if we talk about hope, well, when you have food, you're going to have a lot more hope than if you don't have food.
Right.
Nutrition is very integral part of, if you don't have nutrition, it's going to be very difficult for any medical dental team to help you. So I think all of that, we're slowly trying to build on that. And we're getting there slowly.
Right.
The more people that help, and whether they come on our trips or donate or engage in other ways, I'm open to suggestions and help.
No, but see, which is very good, because see, our now, since Bhakta community have migrated to USA, we I don't know have the exact data, but people say around 4,000 families, around 12,000 Bhakta are living in USA, and the first generation have become so many of the in medical field or any other field. But this is a good platform, so whoever is listening and watching, and they want to be part of it, they can reach out to people like Yogi and say, okay, hey, I would like to be part of something where I want to experience what you've been experiencing, also to help other people out. And I think that is what our goal is, to connect all the Bhaktajan, living in different parts of USA or other country, but especially right now we are talking about USA. So we can connect, just like a cricket tournament I talked about, there are 18 teams connecting together, playing together, and that's a sports. But this is like a serving, and with so many doctors, and everyone has different stage of life. So of course, not everyone can join, but they, as you said, they can contribute differently. Because the army, as you said, and our goal is to, hey, this is a platform, and we have thousands of Bhaktajan, and so many of them are doctors in medical field. And luckily, through the blessings of Sadhguru Kabir, our entire Bhakta Samaj has benefited and evolved, also progressed very well, if you can put it educationally and monetarily, materially also. So we could use those resources to serve humanity at large, and not just for our own sake, which is fine, but then also go out of our circle. And that is where the Kabirji's teaching, where he says that ek bhajan ma kahi ke, in everyone, that let's put it, God or that essence lives in everyone, and Anant log mein rami raha jaake rangana roop, means he's talking about that in every human being that spirit is playing a role without any shape and size and color, and that's why to see that essence, to see that God, let's put it this way, in other, and me and the other is the same thing, and how you serve that. I think that mind shift, the shift in the mindset changes the way we serve. And I'm glad that you have taken that into and put in action. That's the most important thing. Now, let me ask you a loaded question, okay? So it's like when you graduated from UCLA and then you became, medical doctor, and through an entire journey, and you started the Kailash Foundation and how you're serving with different camp, how you have blossomed as a human being, and what was the transformation as a, like a student doctor to right now? Kind of loaded, but you can share your experience.
Well, I guess if you do anything long enough, you start seeing patterns. And, we're talking about what I do. It's really patterns of human behavior. Our mental health is probably more important than anything else that we talk about. And influences how people behave and how they take their actions or don't take any actions is all I've really learned. It's really from the individual. But sometimes there's outside influences in the home. It starts in the home. All education really starts in the home, and what kind of influence you're going to give. So that's also the family has to decide what kind of a knowledge they want to pass on to their generations. Is all I've kind of figured out. And those that do it well and they care of each other, they believe in exactly what you're talking about as community and everything else. And there are plenty that don't. So I think it really I don't know what drives the psychological factors other than greed, as I see the biggest issue, but I don't have any other. You don't already know. You probably know most of these things as it is. There's no blossoming really. It's just you kind of learn to tolerate things.
Right. But see, through your selfless service, you definitely transform yourself, because you see, if we cocoon ourselves in a safe and sound and luxuriant comfort, we don't see and feel the pain of humanity. But since you travel to remote areas or areas where people are suffering, when you see and feel that energy, and then when you exchange energy, when you talk about, I think that takes away from our comfort zone of living in USA with the cocooning to when we go there, that transformation, definitely, it's a subtle transformation. It happens, and that's where that we value, our existence. Am I kind of,
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it gives more meaning to things, to life and everything. But I'm just as guilty as anybody else of forgetting about all that as soon as I come back and back to my home and enjoying the luxuries everyone else does. Maybe not so quickly, but we do get comfortable and cocoon in our ways, like you mentioned, and maybe we can all do more. But I think every individual everywhere around the world, I can see that they themselves could do more for themselves too, to tell you the truth. And that's why the communities that do take care of themselves are going to do the best long term, is what I think.
That's really good. As you said, we definitely tend to lose our perspective, or kind of once you go in a grind. But this kind of remind us. Now, what kind of final question is, what kind of message you want to give to all Bhaktajans, or even those who are in any field, medical field or non-medical field, of the lessons you have learned, the atmosphere, environment you have seen in different places, and through your own journey, what kind of message you want to give?
I think I would say if you're comfortable in your life and able to take care of yourself first and your family, second. Then, yeah, I think you will find life much more rewarding if you do give back in any way you want. It doesn't have to be medical, dental, or those kind of professions. It could be anything. There's hunger all around the world. There's people who need housing all around the world, basic needs. So however you want to give back to life and society, volunteer work in your community. It's really up to the individual what's going to find something that will give them reward. It's not something that you can guide someone. Hey, if you do that, you'll be fine.
Right.
That never
Right.
works like that, because they have to find themselves. So, but I think they should. If you don't look within your own soul, that you'll never find anything. So people should spend some time looking in the mirror, at themselves, see how they can better themselves.
That's right. See, Dr. Yogi, એ જે વાત કરી આપણને કે દરેકની અંદર heartની અંદર there is a smoldering discontent or I would say smoldering something which want to help other people. And આપણી એક ફરજ થઈ જાય human being તરીકે કે આપણે find out કરવું જોઈએ કે how may I serve, and then the answer will come, and that is what this is how you want to serve the other human. અને એ જે છે એ જે rewarding છે, that is how we get rewards. It's not necessary that somebody is telling us, do this, જે યોગીએ કીધું કે આ કર કે તે કરે બીજો કઈ. એના કરતા when we look within our heart and come out, whatever the answer is, that's the answer. We don't need to be convinced by other people or validate by other people. It happens and it comes. So very well said, Yogi. Let's all look at within and see, ask ourselves, how may I serve? And how may I serve with smile? I can say. So very well. One more question just happened to me. What family values taught us to do this kind of work? You and Dipti both, now, sorry, I'm not talking much about Dipti, but you and Dipti as a team, both families, values, both sides of the values, I'm sure that you learned. And what values prompted you to, hey, go out of your so-called medical field, luxury life, or so-called, and to serve other humans in other part of the world?
Yeah, that's tough. Good question, because I wasn't really thinking about the kids, to tell you the truth, when I started all this, because I didn't have children before I started doing my first camps. So it was never really a thought. It was just that when we started this, it was very painful because the children were very young, and I was away a lot. So it was very painful for my wife and taking care of them. It's, so it's, the people who have children, especially when they're young, they need a lot of attention. So the responsibilities, like I said, it's an army that takes care of our camps. And it starts at the home. So I don't know how to answer that question. It was, I think maybe a leap before I was thinking, but I did get into it. There were definitely struggles that I had not thought about, and challenges I ran into that I didn't think I would run into. But that's like everything else in life. You have to figure it out and navigate around all that, and figure out your path forward.
Yeah, no, you said right, because the leap of faith sometimes you take, and through your struggle you grow. You grow as you overcome your challenges. That's very important, because if we don't take on our challenges, sometimes then we don't grow. We don't want to run away from our challenges. So your intentions were pure, and with the pure intentions you jumped. And I think that's the thing I can derive. And a lot of time our fear holds you up from serving at larger than what we can. And I think that's a great message, Yogi. So anybody has any questions, before we wrap up? Any comments, questions to ask Yogi, Dr. Yogi? So you have right now the chance. Okay, so Bina, can you?
Ram Kabir, મારું નામ દીપક ગોકુળભાઈ ભક્તા છે. મારા મધર બી ધામણથી છે. પણ મારો સવાલ, મને સજેશન જોઈએ છે. I took medication for blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes for 20 years till 2020. Then I modified the diet. Now, over 2.5 years, the doctor stopped all the medication because medication were getting strong. Now I'm working about the knowledge. I'm working that how I can empower other people, so a lay down person can take action. Do you have any suggestion? And should I elaborate any more here?
For what? Suggestion for what? Say that.
What kind of food I take it? What kind of food I take it? Elaboration on that part.
Well, yeah, in general, I think most people, the doctors would advise them what diet and exercise, but we're talking about blood pressure. Most people are aware to cut back on salt. But a lot of studies suggest that less fatty, greasy, oily foods, less fried foods, less bhajiyas and things like that will actually help too. And obviously activity, the more active you are, you don't have to go to a gym. You can just go for a walk a couple, 2 or 3 times a day. And there's no other secret. Keep your weight down. We've been probably told all of these things in the past. We just have to believe it. It'll work.
Thank you for, sorry for interrupting you. Okay, but my doctor has told me, I have 2 doctors, both are MD from US. And because of their interest, I think it's contagious. It's, I will say, the relationship between doctor and patient after 20 years took me over here. They do the karelu, and also have a Master of Science degree from US too. So I do understand what you're talking about. But I took very different approach. Based on dietitian. Let me tell you, like, you can see on the background, that's a pinnacle I have climbed it myself in 1986. We can tell a lot about, there's a lot of good story on that part. That's why I have on the background that. But may not the. So I tried 20 years, and then when pandemic came, a dietitian asked me, how much carbohydrate do I eat? And that's where I got where I went wrong for 20 years. And from there, I discovered how much carbohydrate my body can tolerate. So if I eat 60 grams of carbohydrate per meal, my sugar never go above 120 after 2 hours. And that's how the medication became strong, and the doctor cut the medication. Dr. Richard Berry and Dr. Charles Franz Dio.
Every human being is wired differently, and your story is not going to work for every human being. So I'm glad that you're in a better place and it's working for you.
Right. And sorry to interrupt, but Deepak Bhai, let us not make this as a doctor medical advice from Yogi. Our questions and comments should be the humanitarian work he is doing. And let's keep it on that, because this platform is not right for asking any medical advice or medical guidance. So for all, whoever has the question, please do not go. I mean, unless you have very ultimate aim. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry if I won't talk more because I look like I'm not communicating better at this time to you. I'm not asking for advice from you. I'm asking how I can deliver, how I can empower people with my knowledge. I was needed guidance on that part. But since the communication didn't went clearly, that's why I went specific example. And each person is different. I do agree it. And that's my concern. Knowledge muku kevi rite.
Yeah, you can do that every day. You can do that every day with everybody you run across, your friends, your family, relatives. And if you're going to Samaj functions, you want to say something in front of the Samaj and say it to the group, say it. There's many different ways you can send your message out. You're doing it right now on this platform, so you can do it every day.
We're coming on the same page now. Okay, I'll stop here because they're coming on the same page. That's what I've been doing. And how to do it at large, that was my question. I don't think I'm communicating at this time better with you.
No, but I think Deepak Bhai, your goal is to scale it. And to scale, there are so many different ways. One is you can write an ebook and give a free ebook. Then it's an evolution. Once you start and connect with the people who have done these things, slowly, you will be able to take that, your message, your experience to other people through different media. So it's something it has to be evolved. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Sanbhai.
Ram Kabir, Dr. Yogesh, Yogesbhai અને યોગેશ આપણે તો તમે નંદલેથી હું જાણું છું અને when you came to America, જ્યારે હું સાન ફ્રાન્સિસ્કો મેં લેવા આવ્યા ત્યારે તમારી હાઈટ કરતા તમારી પાસે બેગ મોટી હતી. I can still remember it. અને તમે જે તમારું ટેલેન્ટ, નો હાવ અને જે એજ્યુકેશનથી you have acquired, કે મટીરિયલ, મની, એ બધું તમે આ સેવામાં વાપરો છો, એ ખરેખર આપણા બધા માટે એક મેસેજ છે. તમે that's what you are doing. That's the message we are all receiving, that this is what we have to do. Rather than just talk about it, you are doing it. અને આવતીકાલે ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમા છે અને બધા શ્લોક બોલે કે ગુરુ બ્રહ્મા વાળો કે દોનો ખડા અને આ બધી વાત તો થશે, પણ તમે જે કરો છો, what you are doing is the real message. અને આગળ રાજુભાઈએ કહ્યું કે 4th of July ફ્રીડમ આવે છે, પણ ગુજરાતી ભાષામાં ફ્રીનો કોઈ મિનિંગ નથી. there is no word for free. હવે કઈ વસ્તુ હોય તો એ હોય કે ભાઈ આ મને એપલ મફત મળ્યું તો મફત એ ફ્રી થાય, પણ આપણા શરીર માટેનું કે આત્મા માટે ફ્રી જે શબ્દ વપરાય છે એમાં કોઈ પણ આપણી ભાષામાં ફ્રીનું ટ્રાન્સલેશન નથી. તમે જે કરી રહેલા છે સ્વાર્થ વગર, તે ખરેખર વંદનીય છે. અને મારે એટલું જ કહેવાનું અને બીજું ઉમેરવાનું કે તમે કરી શકો છો કારણ કે તમારો જન્મ એ ફેમિલીમાં, ભગા દાદાની ફેમિલીમાં, ધામા દયા દાદા, ગોમી માસી, વિઠ્ઠલભાઈ, દુધી ભાભી અને તમારા વડીલ બે ભાઈઓ કે શશીભાઈ, જેમણે પણ માતાના આશ્રમમાં સેવા આપી છે વર્ષો સુધી. ચંદ્રેશભાઈ આપણા અમેરિકાના એરફોર્સમાં સેવા આપી છે અને વહુજી ટીના એ ફેમિલીની સર્વિસ અજોડ છે. એટલે તમે બધા, અને દીપ્તિબેન, આપણે કરી શકીએ છીએ, તમે કરી શકો છો, એ ફેમિલીનો સપોર્ટ છે. દીપ્તિ એ છે, હવે એ જો સપોર્ટમાં ના હોય તો તમારથી આ બધું થાય નહીં. એટલે આ એ વાડી, એટલે ફૂલઝાડી, આ તમારી આખી ફેમિલીની વાડી, એ સેવા ભાવી, એ જ વસ્તુ છે કે તમે આટલું ટેલેન્ટ, એજ્યુકેશન થી તમે જે મેળવ્યું છે તે તમે બધાને વહેંચો છો. એ જ અમારે માટે ખૂબ ખૂબ શીખવા જેવું છે. વાત કરવાની નથી પણ કામ કરવાનું છે અને તમે કરી બતાવો છો. એ જ છે, એ જ મારે કહેવાનું છે. થેન્ક યુ. અને થેન્ક યુ ટુ તમારી આખી પરિવારને. થેન્ક યુ.
વિદાય આવવાના મારી સાથે નપાલ.
ગોઠવીશું.
પરમિશન આપશે તમને, ચિંતા ન કરો.
એટલે કઈ વાત કરીશું. રાજુભાઈ કે પર્સનલ મેટર હમણાં ડિસ્કસ કરવી નહીં. થેન્ક યુ.
ને પણ સરસ જે સનુભાઈએ વાત કરી કે ફેમિલી વેલ્યુઝ ને ફેમિલીનો સપોર્ટ અને ડોક્ટર દીપ્તિનો સપોર્ટ ને લીધે જ Yogesh also can go out of the country and serve the humanity. So it takes the આર્મીમાં જે ફેમિલીની આર્મી છે અને ફેમિલીની વેલ્યુઝ છે ને ફેમિલીનો સપોર્ટ છે, ત્યારે જ આપણે આ તરફ આવી રીતે ઓવરસીઝ જઈ અને પરોપકારી કાર્ય આપણે કરી શકીએ, which is very, very important. I think that's the whole message that, hey, પેલું કયું સબકા વિકાસ, સબકા સાથ, સબકા પ્રયાસ ની જે મોદી વાત કરે કે વસુદેવ કુટુંબકમ, તેની જે વાત કરે તેમ આપણે we all want to connect, but let us connect with the Bhaktajan first and keep it, our values together, and together we can serve humanity at large, and that's the whole message. So Yogi, on behalf of Sri Ramkabir Bhakta Samaj of USA, entire Bhakta community at large, we want to thank you and Dipti and entire family to keep doing the great work, serving the humanity, and we wish a great what you call I don't have the words, but the Kailash Foundation can reach out as many people and mitigate their suffering, and then we all can together put smile on other human being. And that's what the Kabirji says, there's no difference between the other and me, it's only one. And then one, that is how we can create entire family on planet Earth. Thank you very much, Sanukbhai. And I thank you. You want to add anything before say goodbye, or?
Yeah, actually I would do. Anyone who wants to help, and if there are any professionals in the community that want to join me, they can reach out to me. My cell is 925-699-4609. And on our website is kailashmedicalfoundation.org. We're going to be having a fundraiser in October, on October 9th. It's going to be a golf tournament up here in the Bay Area. So any golfers that want to come join, or anybody who wants to donate to us and support our cause, we do take videos of all of our medical camps and give feedback to our donors as to exactly what we're doing, how many patients we serve, and the locations and everything else. So if you want to get involved, that'd be a great way to get involved. And there's no minimum, $5 will help. And if you can put more zeros, then please do. Thank you for your time. Ram Kabir.
Ram Kabir. And thank you again, Dr. Yogesh. આ રીતે જ continue inspiring, continue do the work and continue inspire other human being in any other field, as we say. It doesn't have to be medical field, any other field, to do the volunteer work, to kind of mitigate the suffering of the humanity. And let's all live together and all celebrate life together. Thank you very much, Ram Kabir.
Ram Kabir.
So, ભાઈઓ, હવે આપણે જે સમાપ્ત કરીએ છીએ કબીર વિઝડમ. વી ઓલ લર્ન કે યસ, આપણા જ ભક્ત ભાઈ બહેન કે જે લોકો મેડિકલ ફિલ્ડમાં હોય છે તો છતાં પણ આ રીતે ઘણા કરતા જ હશે, પરંતુ અમારો ધ્યેય જે પણ કરતા હોય છે અને જે અમને મળે છે એમને પણ ઓપોર્ચ્યુનિટી હોય ત્યારે અમે લાવી અને કર્મયોગને આપણે એક પ્રોત્સાહન આપીએ. જ્ઞાન યોગ, ભક્તિ યોગને તો આપણે આપતા જ છે હંમેશા, પણ કર્મયોગીને પણ લાવીને આપણે સૌ, સનુભાઈ કહેતું હતું કે લેટ્સ પુટ અવર વર્ડ્સ ઇન ટુ એક્શન, અને આપણને ઇન્સ્પાયર કરે. ધેટ્સ ધ હોલ પર્પઝ. તો રામ કબીર સૌને આપણે શાંતિ મંત્ર બોલી અને આજે પૂર્ણ કરીશું. હરિ ઓમ. પૂર્ણ છે, પૂર્ણ છે, પૂર્ણમાંથી પૂર્ણ ઉગ્યું છે બધું. પૂર્ણમાંથી પૂર્ણ આપી ધો ભલે, પૂર્ણ પાછળ શેષ રહેવાનું સદાય. ઓમ શાંતિ શાંતિ શાંતિ. રામ કબીર.